First, though, it's time for a few underreported holy mackerel stories in today's news. There are a lot of cold Bulgarians right now. Cold Bulgarians cursing Vladimir Putin. Here's the story. Russia has a big proportion of the world's natural gas, and they've got Europe and the Balkans in a really vulnerable position since they control the pipelines that carry almost all the natural gas in that part of the world. Why is that a problem? Why are cold Bulgarians cursing Vladimir Putin? Well, it's because Russia decided a few days ago to dramatically and abruptly cut back on the amount of gas it's sending through those pipelines. It's a payment dispute with Ukraine, with the Russians accusing Ukraine of stealing natural gas and underpaying, and the Ukrainians denying any such thing. Meanwhile, because Europe gets about a quarter of its natural gas from Russia, and 80% of that goes from Russia through the disputed pipelines in Ukraine, Bulgaria is cold. And so are a lot of other places. Bulgaria, Greece, Macedonia, Romania, Croatia, Serbia, and Turkey are all reporting that their natural gas shipments have been halted. France, Germany, Austria, Poland, and Hungary are also reporting significant drops in supplies from Russia. Now, although Europe gets about a quarter of its natural gas from Russia, some individual countries are way more dependent on Russia than that. The Associated Press reporting that already 2 Bulgarian cities on the Black Sea coast are now totally without natural gas. That means tens of thousands of people with no heat in January. Hence the cursing of Putin in Bulgaria. Russia and Ukraine are meeting to try to sort it out on Thursday. Hey, no rush, you guys. 6 days without heating fuel in January? No rush. And speaking of rushing, the conversion to digital TV in this country happens on February 17th. 42 days from now, all TV stations will switch to a digital signal. So anyone using rabbit ears will have to buy a converter for their old TVs, or else... in space, nobody can hear me scream. All right, so in the interests of planning ahead for the digital TV switch, the federal government has been doing all sorts of things to remind people about the change and to get people to buy converter boxes if they need them. They sponsored a NASCAR car, which kept crashing. They put up a really deeply intimidating and confusing dtv.gov website about the whole thing. And they started a program to mail out $40 coupons that people can use against the cost of the digital converters. All in the interest of America planning ahead for the digital TV conversion. Plan ahead. Be prepared. Then they ran out of money. Yeah, bad planning. Anybody who applied after January 4th for one of those $40 converter coupons will be put on a waiting list until more funds become available, or until inadvertent government programming irony fades to black. And finally, we asked, and you answered. On last night's show, you may recall my desperate plea for information about why the Obama family is having to stay in a hotel this week rather than at the presidential guest house. The Obama daughters started school this week in Washington. The Obama family had requested to move into the presidential guest house. It's called Blair House this past weekend. The White House said no. No, Obama family, you cannot stay at the president's guest house. We're sorry, it's booked. Hence my plea for information. What could possibly be the booking at Blair House that was too important to move, too important to reschedule, too important to say, oh, I'm terribly sorry, we have to change plans. The Obamas have asked to stay here. Well, I asked, and then today my email inbox overfloweth. We got tips and suggestions from former Blair House staffers, from family members of Bush administration officials, from foreign policy bigwigs, tons of email. Now, confirming one of the tips that we received about Blair House, the Washington Post is now reporting that at least one of the nights in question, Blair House will be host to, drumroll please, the ex-Prime Minister of Australia, John Howard. He's in town for a White House event on January 13th. So that bumps the Obamas. The Obamas have to stay in a hotel? The White House, you will recall, had said the Obamas could move in as of the 15th, but not before. Not before because a former Australian Prime Minister is using the guest house. And, as Margaret Carlson reports tonight on Countdown, when the Bushes told the Obamas to find other accommodations, that was back in mid-December, at that time when they said no, at that time, there was actually nobody scheduled to be staying in Blair House. Ms. Carlson's reporting suggests that John Howard may have been put up there to justify sending the Obamas to a hotel suite. John Howard couldn't just stay at a hotel. Really. Is it just awkwardness? Do you guys at the Office of Protocol want me to call him? Because I have no squeamishness about this. I will totally call him for you. And I bet he will understand.